Hello, this is Goodall. Welcome back to Feed the Beast Interactions Remastered. Since last time, I didn't really actually do too much. I did a little bit more of cleaning up of the Flatline byproducts. So, like, we have ammonium chloride coming over here. I started processing the, what's it called? The raw palladium powder over here. Should also probably go ahead and process the platinum dust. Platinum. Which one was it? This one, the raw platinum powder. We can go ahead and toss that over here as well. Just let that electrolyze out into chlorine, which do we need at this point? I mean, we still don't really need chlorine at this point, but just to, have it processed. Otherwise, there's going to be a big backlog of processing by the time it's time to actually, you know, do this. Where did that hydrochloric acid come from? A little confused. No matter. So the RTM coils all finished up, and I installed them in our EBF. So here we go. EBF's now running at heat capacity of 4,700 Kelvin. And currently there's some tungsten steel cooking up in there. Here is our first tungsten steel ingots over here. Boom. There we go. Achievement made. Insane voltage. And we can go claim some quest rewards here and there. Oh, we need a RTM alloy for this quest over here, huh? Okay, that's fine. Next coil is going to be the HSS. HSS means high-speed steel. And what is that? That is tungsten steel mixed with chrome, molybdenum, and vanadium. So not too bad of materials. But when we get to LUV tier, rhodium-plated palladium. Ooh, rhodium is not fun to get at the moment. But anyhow, looks like we're also going to have to be doing the assembly line multi-block. That is very expensive in regards to just how much these controller casings cost. It's like those are insanely expensive. And basically each one of these slices has one of those blocks in it. And yeah, it takes very high tier circuits, an IV sensor, an IV emitter. Those are all some very expensive things. Anyways, where was the quest for that? Oh yeah, Dragonheart trophy over here in this chapter. I forgot to collect that. Here, we can replace our current trophy with that one. What's our next trophy? So there's the assembly line. Kind of just jumps to the freaking creative storage key, huh? They've added a lot of stuff to the mod pack since this, and this is kind of a big jump. This should probably be like down here somewhere. But anyways, metallurgy. Is this where tungsten steel was? Yeah, no reward for that. Oh well. Demon wool crystals. I mean, I'm just going to claim those just to get them out of the quest book, even though we definitely don't need them. We have 8,200. Alright, also, I don't need that one. My magnet keeps grabbing it. Here, magnet. Go away. Uh-oh, what happened here? Somehow this got caught up in a craft. What craft is this supposed to be doing here? I think I don't know how this item got stuck in here, but I think this is supposed to go back in here because that's what was requested there. So that interface should be unlocked now. But yeah, I had also made the capstones for the tier 5 altar, and I had just thrown them down there. And haven't set anything up. I started making some sacrifice runes, and then wait, maybe I want some speed runes also. So I'm gonna be making like a mix of speed and sacrifice, because there's no point in having your altar get a bunch of blood if it uses it super slowly. So kind of want to balance them out. So we are. Let's see if we can actually go ahead and make our dynamos yet for our generators. Nope, we are missing PIC still. So we have the tungsten steel we need. We just need PIC. So let's do PIC. I forgot what we needed for that. It was the cutting machine, right, that we needed? Yeah, EV cutting machine. So we need one of these guys. And we were trying to get, right, ultimate is what we couldn't get. Did we make a recipe for that? Nope. All right, let's go through and make ultimate first. Go ahead and make the mixer recipe, and this is going to be a vacuum freezer recipe. Yep. Okay. No problem. We can go ahead and do the hot ingot, but we put a regular ingot in there. EBF. We're going to need 4 of those. Oh, right. We need to do the dust first. Ultimate dust is this stuff that we now all have all of the stuff for. That needs to be in our EV mixer, I believe it was. No, HV mixer is fine, actually. And because our HV mixer is fine, let's just keep it in our HV mixer setup. Okay, and then we can request the ultimate ingots. There we go. That's going to cook that up. And I think everything else here we were able to request, right? And go ahead and order a copy of whatever's missing, so that it'll be ready to go once we get this this buzzsaw blade. Yeah, so we have everything but the buzzsaw blade. That's gonna be stuck behind whatever big order of stuff I put in the EBF, unless I cancel that order. Nope, I cannot cancel that order because it's all queued up in there. So while that's working, I want to discuss power plan changes. So originally, I had been planning to have like a backbone of wire here. I placed this TerraSteel cable down, and I said we will upgrade it as we upgrade our power infrastructure. And I was just kind of like, you know, we do have wireless power transmission options in this mod pack, so I kind of feel like why not take advantage of those instead of really annoyingly running wires all over the place and then having transformers everywhere. So here they are. So there is the Advanced Wireless Power Systems Inc. quest over here where we make a flux controller. And to make flux, we need to get some liquid antimatter. That is something we have not gotten before. And this is a really weird liquid in that when you create it, it basically corrodes everything it touches into antimatter. And if you like drop a bucket of it, it's just gonna like make a hole straight through the ground all the way down to bedrock, and it's just gonna like destroy your world and your base if you're not careful. But I do have a plan for getting it. So there's a few ways you can automate it. I'm going to not automate antimatter, but I'm going to make so much of it that we're not feasibly going to need any more of it, like for the foreseeable future of the rest of the mod pack. So let me make a super tank 2, and then so that's what we're going to need. We're going to need a builder. And then we are going to need shape cards. We want to have a shape card of pumping because we're going to be picking up a fluid. Okay, so we are gonna, oh, hey, there's actually a quest for that over here. Okay, so maybe we actually don't worry about the shape card because it's gonna give us one once we do this. All right, so I have made a little setup that is ready to go in the Void World. Also, I'm gonna do a backup here. Backup start. Just a manual backup, just in case something goes horribly wrong with this. And let me just wait for that backup to run. All right, backup's all done. So I made a setup up here, and this is where we are going to get all of our antimatter from. Just give me a second to get all the way up here. I put it at build height, and you're going to see why in a moment. Alright, here we go. Oops. Elytra, I did not need you to deploy right there. My health's a little low here. Let me refill my health really quick. Because who knows what's going to happen. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. To make antimatter, you have to hit life essence with lightning. So I have the Sigil of the Storm, which lets us summon a lightning bolt anywhere. And I have some life essence here. And you might be looking at this platform and thinking it's a little weird. Well, that is because we are going to be doing something kind of silly here. I'm going to dig up all of the platform and put all of this life essence in freefall. Alright, we have all of the life essence in freefall now. We have just one cobblestone block up here in the center. And I will show you why we are doing this here in one moment. So I'm gonna... Let me get a different angle on the antimatter here. We're gonna wait until the antimatter, or not the antimatter, the life essence hits the bottom of the map, and you will see why. So while that is falling, I'm just gonna go up here. Oh my gosh, how do you stop gliding in an elytra without landing on the ground? Do you have to land on the ground? It's kind of annoying because the only ground up here is this one block of cobblestone. Okay, there we go. Alright, please don't elytra again. I'm just trying to get on the block, man. I just want to get on the block, that's all. Oh no, not again, okay. I'm gonna be back in a minute. Okay, I ended up having to land on the ground. But our life essence is almost down there at the bottom of the map. What happened to my knife here? Why is it so damaged? Does it get, like, damaged if I go in the life essence or something? Seems odd. No, that's not happening. Yeah, I don't know how my knife got so damaged. But anyways, looks like we have hit the bottom of the map, so I'm going to go back up to the top, and we are going to use our Sigil of Storms to turn all of this into antimatter. And you might be thinking, isn't there only one block of, what's it called up there? Life Essence? And, yes, you would be correct. There's only one block of Life Essence, but when antimatter touches stuff, the stuff also turns into antimatter. So, here we go. Get my Sigil of the Storm. Aim for that cobblestone block in the middle. Would you look at that? There's some antimatter there now. Wait, did I miss the middle? Nope, I hit the middle. Okay. So my question is, why is it not spreading? Let me try breaking this block and see what happens. This is kind of weird. Oh, okay. Whoa. There it goes. Yep, and this whole thing is now antimatter. This whole thing. Yep, that's all the antimatter we're gonna need. And here's how we're gonna collect it. Builder, super tank on top to collect it. We are going to now... Oh, I need to go get a bucket of antimatter first. Hopefully you can just put it in a bucket, right? Yeah, why not? Turn it into the quest here, so we can get a shape card. Now the shape card, this is where the magic's going to happen. We need to set up a shape card that's going to hit this entire pillar. So the easiest way to do that would be to use a scaffold. Or like some blocks to kind of set the... Here, I'm just going to make some cobblestone blocks over here. Remember when we used to use this table a lot? Okay, so we want to kind of align up with the one edge and then kind of get up close to the edge. And we want to get the coordinates of kind of one corner of this pillar. All right, so I feel like we're lined up there. And I feel like we're lined up here. So this is one corner of our pillar. Oh, we got to do it on the builder first. Okay, select the first corner. All right, and now select the second corner. So I'm going to go to the other side of the antimatter. Please don't, like, turn my cobblestone into antimatter. Okay. It did turn it into antimatter, but then it just... it didn't chain react to the rest of my cobblestone, so that's fine. Whoops. All right, here we go. This is our second corner of our build card. All right, so we have the settings copied to the build card. And I am going to modify the settings. So this is one layer. We are going to set the dimensions for the Y to be 256. And I think that should be what we need, right? So put the module in there. We can hit the preview button here to get a preview of what this is going to do, which is, where is that? Visually highlight the position. Okay, no, it's here, this one, preview. So it goes, uh-oh. The preview blocks are turning into antimatter. Is it going all the way to the top here? It doesn't seem to be going all the way to the top. We need to adjust the height. Yeah, okay. So I don't know why it hasn't gone all the way up to the top. But let's go ahead and adjust the shape card again. Turn off the preview first. Looks like we have some weird antimatter shelves now on our on our little pillar here. Okay, so why I'm always confused about doing this preview here. Can I just do like dimension of 500? 256, offset of, what about offset of 0? It's like not going all the way up there. I'm not sure if that's just like visually not doing it or what, but do I have to do an offset of negative 128? Oh wait, hang on. Before you change this, you should always turn off the preview because then the preview blocks will get stuck. So negative 128. And then will it reach the whole thing? Or wait, maybe it needs to be positive 128. What are we at now? We're at 67. Let's do some quick math. So we're at 67. The map is 256 tall. So halfway is 128. So 128 to 67 would be 61 offset. So let's try an offset of 61 and let's see if that fixes it. So positive 61 offset. And do the preview now. There we go. That's that seems better. And I can't tell if the top is like actually being captured up here. Here, let me fly up there again. All right, here we are at the top. And yeah, it is capturing the top now. So we are good to begin pumping. A weird ass fluid, man. Okay, down we go. Okay, let's turn off the preview. And let's turn on the pump. Here we go. Oh, and that's right, we need to power this guy. Let's just get our Ender Spectre Coil for the meantime. And yeah, here's antimatter. Not automated, but are we gonna need this much? in the foreseeable future? No, almost definitely not. But why would we automate it if this gets us everything we need? So yeah, I'm just going to wait a second. I think I can actually go ahead and tick accelerate this, right? Oop, there goes. Not enough power. Can you deliver more power? It can deliver more power, but I'm pretty sure that power is coming from like nowhere. Also, our tank is full. So yeah, this is done here. Let me very carefully pick up my tank. I'm very scared to drop this fluid in my base. So gonna have to be very careful with it. You can't, okay, let me just science over here. You can't place a bucket with this super tank, right? Like if I right click, it's just gonna place the tank. If I shift right click, still places the tank. Okay. Alright, so antimatter. Let's get a fluid storage bus. Also, our ultimate ingots were done. Let me go ahead and... Wait, our ultimate ingots are not done. Why are they still crafting? Did I put them in, like, the wrong hatch or something? I put them in this hatch. There's no helium. Okay. Something's gone wrong here. I must have messed up yep, I messed up the recipe here. Since we're not going to be making this many of this ingot, let me just make this be the circuit 1 recipe. Alright. Go ahead and try that again. Ultimate 4 ingots, please. We're going to be using very little of this metal, so... Yep, still only it's gonna be done in 30 seconds with all of those, so good stuff. Alright, antimatter. Where's our fluid storage? Did I not request one? Or, oh, I have one, okay. Let's just go ahead and throw it down here with our other fluids and such. There you go. There you go. Partition storage, put priority 100, and then get us a smart cable. Alright, we've now got antimatter. As much as one could ever dream. Ultimate. We are going to make a gear, and then we're going to lathe the gear. That's how we're going to get our saw for the cutting machine. Okay, there's our ultimate gear, and we can throw this in the lathe. Apparently, if we make EV rotors, which we need for, where is this, gas turbines? If we made those, we would be needing ultimate gears for those. Alright, into the lathe you go. And we can now make our cutting machine. As soon as this gear finishes. Hey, okay. So I think I had some PICs made already, right? Yeah, PIC wafer. So let me go ahead, toss this up here. And we're gonna need some lubricant for it. So can I just get a bucket of it? Okay. That works. Throw this in here. We're gonna need another bucket. Wow, that uses a lot of lubricant per operation. Okay, so those are gonna be our PIC wafers. And then we'll be able to make our large combustion engine. But in the meantime, let's set up what we're going to be doing with flux. So flux, first we need to make flux powder. So we need to do this recipe. And this is in an assembler, right? This is in a mixer, okay. Mixer. And we're fine to just do this in the non-circuit mixer. So flux, We got Infinity Dust we have automated, and Flux Crystal. Do we have that automated? Flux Crystal we do not have automated, so we have to automate that as well. Okay, Flux Crystals, where do you come from? Chemical Bath with Mana Diamond, okay. We could also do it in this Crystallizer multi-block with less redstone, but I mean, it's just redstone, right? Like, who cares? Alright, Chemical Bath. I don't want to make that Crystallizer to save on, like, a little bit of redstone on a few recipes that we're not even really going to be using. So we know how to make both of those. So this Flux Crystal is automated. We should be able to make Flux now. So Flux. So there it goes, getting the redstone. Then it's going to make the Flux Crystal. Then it will make the Flux. Yeah, and good thing we didn't put that in the parallelized mixers either, because that would be a lot of that'd be a lot of mixing for no reason. All right, we got some PIC chips ready to go. Can we go ahead and make our dynamo? We're gonna need 4 of these guys. Yep, we can go ahead and make them. We only need 2 each. So, all right, there go the dynamos. Where's our flux? How's our flux doing? Our flux is done. And why did we make flux? We need it for the flux controller. Okay. Which I'm not sure why we need the flux controller, but I'm just going to make it because the quest requires it. Alright, so we need some flux blocks. Let's go ahead and just have those automated. And then let's get these flux cores. Let's get these automated. That's in the assembly machine. I wish this button here, you can make it hide interfaces that are full, but it doesn't save. So when I reopen it, the button is unpressed again. So I wish that button would stay pressed, but it does not, unfortunately. All right, so flux controller, we need an EV emitter. Let's go ahead and make one of those. We can make everything except platinum rods. I'm probably going to want to go ahead and automate platinum rods because we're probably going to need those in the future. So lathe with a platinum ingot. All right. What's currently cooking up for the emitter? Just the quantum eye? Quantum eye takes a second there, huh? All right. Whoops. Go in this terminal to do that. We do know how to make platinum ingots, right? Yeah, we do. Okay. I was like, why is that taking so long? All right, there's our EV emitter. We are going to now use that to make our this duder, which I guess first it needs to cook up a bunch of what is it cooking up here again? I don't even know. Oh, it needs to make way more flux. Okay, let's speed this step over here up. I just like blindly did it without checking if there was a battery in there. It probably wasn't that smart. Okay, quantum eye is going to take a second. I'll come back when those are done. Unless there's something else I can kind of do while this is running. I guess I could also make flux plug and flux points. Yeah, I'm going to need to make some stuff for this. Okay. So I think we're going to be okay with one flux plug. However, we will want multiple flux points. So, oh, also the quest gives us one. So let's do one of these guys. I'm going to need a circuit and fluid, so let me go ahead and grab my circuit card in here. So flux, plug. Let's go ahead and put this in here with, it was circuit 13, right? Yeah, I don't know why 13 is what they chose, but it is. All right, so we have this. We're going to need these platinum cables automated. So go ahead and do that. That goes in the assembler. These both go in the assembler so far. what else did the flux plug need? Ender resonator. This is also an assembler recipe. Okay. Doesn't need a circuit though, right? Yeah, okay. Vibrant alloy? I forgot if we automated that. Vibrant alloy. We do have that automated. Okay, so we should be able to go ahead and craft up a flux point here. A flux plug. And then also we're going to want flux point, which is all the same stuff except it is... Wait, also we can change these. Wait, okay. Then we don't need to make both recipes because you can just interchange them. Flux point turns into flux plug, and then flux plug from flux point. Yeah, okay. Don't need to make both then. How's our craft over here going? What is wrong with these? Assembler, MV assembler. It says it's crafting 16, but they're not craft... Oh, did I mess this up again? What are those things called? Flux cores. I did not put the fluid in there. My bad. All right, let me cancel. Whoops. Cancel this recipe here. What is going on with extreme voltage coils? Why are those not done? I didn't put the circuit in that one. Good job, me. Wait, there's a circuit in here. Why did the circuit not apply? Let me look at this recipe really quick. Oh, I know why. Bet I did not have blocking mode enabled. Yep. Big mistake. You have to have blocking mode enabled if you are using the program circuit card. Okay. Fix that. Let's go ahead and try to make the flux controller again. Wait, did I even fix the flux cores? No, I still have the flux core recipe in my inventory. Whoops. Fix this guy. Assembler. And then you know what else I didn't do? I didn't go in here and clean these items out of here. Also, something was waiting to craft, and it was blocking it all up. Alright, our dynamos are done. Let's go ahead and get this flux controller going. That is a lot of redstone it needs to extract here. Let me help it out there. So there's a flux controller, and then let me go ahead and... Whoops, don't make 1,000 of them. How about just one is fine. We need a platinum 4x wire and solarium ingot. Solarium. We had automated this some time ago, but yeah, that was in the logistic pipe days. EBF, solarium should be good to go. Solarium. Netherite ingots. Oh boy, what do we need for that? I don't think we have netherite dust, do we? We do have netherite dust, but that's like a weird crucible recipe. I don't want to mess around with that. That's the only way to turn it into ingots. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's just use the recipe we used before with the alloy smelter and the demon ingots. So alloy smelter. Do we have demon ingot automated? We do. Okay, so we should be able to go ahead and request the solarium now. What did we need that for again? Always forgetting what I'm actually doing over here. Needed it for this guy, okay. So yeah, that should be able to go ahead and craft up then the flux plug. Oh, right, the platinum. We can already make platinum cables X4, so let me just, or X1, so let me just take those and we'll craft them up to X4 like so. One more time, flux plug. Yeah, there we go. Automate all the stuff. Wow, those hell ingots sure cooked up rather quickly. Actually, everything our EBF is doing right now is just so fast because of those coils. We get free overclocks, more free overclocks than we used to get. All right, it's crafting the Ender Resonator over here. I don't know what it's crafting over there. And this should be the flux plug itself. All right, here we go, flux plug. I didn't get the controller. Flux controller. Yoink. All right, both quests complete. Go ahead and grab some flux plugs here. And then I'm just going to shamelessly turn one of them into a flux point and get those flux points. Hey. Alright, so how does this thing work again? I don't know what the controller does. Let me actually look it up because I don't remember. Oh yeah, this also has sound effects. Alright, so we're gonna have just a network here. I like blue. We'll make our network blue. Godal's network seems fine. There we go. Godal's network. Alright, so there we go. This is now part of Godal's network. I don't know what this does though. Oh, this is for wireless charging. Okay. Why don't we just enable all of it? Because why not? Cool. Do we have anything that even needed power on us? I mean, our terminal is now full power. We had a bobble over here. It's not working. Oh, wait, duh. We don't have any power going into this system yet. Why would I have expected that to work? Okay, I think we are ready to go with setting up the next phase of our power. So let's go ahead and request our large combustion engines, 4 of them, and just make sure it's going to be using, so LCE kits. It's going to be making all of those. It's going to be making some extra stuff because this doesn't account for multi-block sharing, but that is fine. Okay, so 4 amp dynamos are here. Quadruple input hatches. Why, hang on, why are there quadruple input hatches and then regular input hatches? Slightly confused about that. Let me see what I put in here really quick. So I put quadruple input hatch, muffler hatch. Oh, never mind. It needs the regular hatches to make the quadruple hatches. That's right. Right? Because, yeah, regular input hatch to make that. Okay. All right, 4 of these, please. This is a pretty big craft. It's a lot of titanium. Look at that. 370 titanium plates. Like 40 titanium pipes, bunch of rotors. Yeah, so this is going to take a second. I will come back once that is all ready to go, unless there's something I can think of that I need to do right now, which there kind of isn't, so we could look at a multi-block, like here's the power substation multi-block. Honestly, might kind of be interested in it potentially. But we would only be able to pipe power in and out as much as our best dynamo. So what kind of dynamos do we have access to? Could use a 64 amp dynamo. Wait, hang on. Nope, never mind. We can't use that. That is IV only. So we would need, before we would even consider this multi-block, we would need to be in the 64 amp range, because without it, it is, yeah, just not viable. There are a bunch of different tiers of batteries you can have in here, so inside of this, you can have, go in here. These are all just called capacitors, right? Capacitor, capacitor, capacitor. All right, capacitor. So we can make these at some point. This doesn't actually hold any power, so the first tier that would actually be able to hold power would be this one. And that's kind of interesting. You put the Lapotron crystal inside of the empty tier 1 capacitor, and it makes something that holds 6 times more power? What about the next tier? Next tier, yeah, also 6 times more power. Yeah, so if we really wanted to store a ton of power, we could do it with this. But I think the substation has a small maintenance cost to run. We are going to be storing our power that we make from our engines, but we're going to be doing it in a battery buffer. Let's go ahead and make a 16 times battery buffer is what we're going to be using. Oh boy, we need titanium plates for that. I hope the things making titanium aren't busy. They were not busy, actually, so that was nice. Okay, here's a big battery buffer. Here's all of the batteries we're going to put into it. And I'm going to tell you the plan. Okay, so we're going to go down here. First of all, like I said, we're not going to be using this kind of main... We're not going to be using this main spine of energy through our base. It's just going to be a lot to maintain. Maybe if we play future versions of modded Minecraft. Did it really just go down there? If we play future versions of modded Minecraft, we will do that. But for now, we don't need to burden ourselves with that because we have the flux points. So let's go ahead and bring our... we're going to have our battery buffer here, and we're going to have all of our batteries in it. So this is going to be able to output 16 amp power. 16 amps of EV power, even. And we are going to go ahead and put this into a flux plug. Whoops. Let's go ahead and throws it into the wrong dang place. All right, flux plug. We are going to connect it to Godal's network. And we are going to disable the limit. So this is going to be able to receive unlimited power. Now, I'm also going to do something a little weird here. So when I was testing these flux plugs before, if you look on these, they say they have a warning, compatibility is a bit janky. The way it works is that this flux plug on this side, as long as it's receiving power, it's able to send power to any other end that's receiving it, but you can't have it receiving... You can't have it sending less power than this is able to make. So if I tried to send like 1 amp of HV out of it here, it's not going to work. But if I do this, check this out. So we're going to make a flux point here. And I'm going to connect this to Godal's network too. So now we are actually kind of rapidly losing power here. Because why? Are we charging ourselves? We're charging the Energium crystal in our inventory. Okay, let me go ditch this somewhere. Like right here would be good. This machine would be good to have it. All right. So this should not be losing power now, right? Perfect. Okay. So what's happening is that this is pushing power into... It's pushing power into the network, and this is pulling it back from there. So why would we do that? We are going to come over here, and we can set this to... we can set the priority here. Where do you set the priority? Priority, we're going to set this to priority -1. So any power that is sent in here is always going to go here last. Therefore, we should be able to take a flux plug anywhere we need power, right? Like, let's say over here, for example, right? This is currently running, and it needs power. We cut off this cable, for instance, and now it doesn't have power, right? So out of power, it's dying, it's sad. But we put a flux plug over here. I'm going to laugh at this, not a plug. We put a flux point over here. And hopefully this doesn't like blow up in my face. That's going to be pretty funny if it does. Flux point. We put it on Godot's network. There we go. It is outputting. Oh, and we can also change this to be EU as well. There we go. Now it's showing EU instead of that. So it is outputting 512 EU per tick into this machine. And we can see the buffer of the machine slowly filling up. And there we go, making a bunch of ammonia and hydrochloric acid. But this is now doing 480. That's how much power this is using. So even though this is hooked up to EV over here, it's able to output HV over there. So kind of, in a way, makes our setup a little bit more streamlined here. You can see it draining. I don't know where it's sending that power, but I should also disable limit over here. But yeah, this little setup here makes it so that this is always sending power, and it's always able to send power to other places. Anyways, let me go ahead and break this off here. Connect the cable back down here. Put the cover back on there. Even though we're going to be scrapping that shortly here. Because we're going to be centralizing our power production. That's going to be exciting, right? Alright, our large combustion engines are ready to go? Heck yeah. There we go. Just like finished all the quests at the same time. Where even was that quest? Down here? LV. Oh, look, it also gives us a free one over here. Whoops, I should have done the quest before I made these. Oh, well. I should have like made one and then picked up the quest rewards and then made the last one. Alright, no worries. Input hatch, though, it wanted 3 input hatches, so let me just make 2 of them really quick. Alright. That quest is done now. And yeah, we get a bunch of stuff that we didn't really need. We could have used it earlier. Whoops, I actually needed those rotor casings, though. Titanium gearbox casings, rather. Let's go and we can put this nitro diesel we just got in our main fuel storage. Dump it off in there. Alright, let's make... Oh, and I got a quest complete from that. There's so many quests that just, like, indiscriminately complete other quests if you're, like, not even really paying attention. Where was that? Up here? Yeah, no rewards for that one, though. Alright, let's build our combustion generators. So, really quickly reminding myself how this looks like. Okay, so we are going to have our engine intakes at the front. And we are doing a 2x2 setup of this, so we're going to have 4 of these on top of each other. Or 4 of them with each other like this. So those are all that we need for those. We got a lot of extra of these, geez. I guess if I want, I can turn these back into titanium. They're not used for anything else, so I might. We're going to put our controllers in the front. The low resolution engine intakes with the high resolution controllers looks kind of silly, but oh well. All right, and then we got to do our framing. So our framing is going to look like this on all of the machines. So these blocks cannot be anything besides these things. All right, so these are our frames. All right, so there's our frames, and I'm probably not going to use the bottom insides here. I'm definitely not going to use the bottom space in there. So fill that up, fill this up down here, and fill that up. Let me get a quick stepping stool. There, and then there. Okay, so those are all filled up, and then we are going to put our gearbox casings inside. Oh wait, I didn't fill the center with casings. There we go. Gearbox casings. I'm excellent at this. All right, did the top ones. That was kind of the hard part. And then finally, our dynamos. All right, so these are going to be generating 16 amps of power, which is exactly how much 1 amp of cable can hold. So just going to hook these all up. That's going to be powering all of our batteries. They're not going to be generating 16 amps, though. They're going to be generating 12 amps. But they'll be able to handle surges up to 16 amps. All right, and now we need our input hatches. So each of these gets their own input hatch because they need a lot of fluids. They need lubricant, they need oxygen, and they need, obviously, fuel. And then we're just going to plug the rest of these up. All right, structure incomplete. Large combustion engine, what is your structure complaint here? So it does accept quadruple hatches. Oh, it needs a muffler hatch. That's right. Okay. I didn't make mufflers. I did make mufflers. I lied. Where would we like the mufflers? I guess on the side, unless I want to make a hole in the floor and then not have it be smoky, but on the side is going to be fine. We need to have like some kind of sign of some kind of pollution we're generating, right, with all this fuel we're going to be burning. All right, there we go. Now the multi-block structure is complete. Okay, so we need oxygen, lubricant, and fuel. So for fuel, we have GPSs over here. This is sending fuel to kind of random places at the moment. These are going away, so we're not going to be using those anymore. But I will just go ahead and use the infrastructure that we previously built to allow us to fuel these. It's going to be a little spaghetti because this is just kind of teleporting fluid from here to over there, and it's going to be like, okay, well, what if we lose track of something? If we do, then oops. Okay, so these should have fuel in them now. They all have fuel in them now. Excellent. They are ready to go. Except, why is it idling? No lubricant. Okay, so it needs lubricant no matter what. Yeah, so we need lubricant regardless of if we're using oxygen. But obviously we're going to use oxygen because oxygen gives us triple power for double fuel consumption. So a big increase in efficiency. So let me get more GPSs on this block. I'm just going to go ahead and send... Ooh, I was just looking at this actually, and I'm like, this isn't a consistent setup for creosote oil anymore. You are not sending creosote oil anymore, right? Yeah, you are done. Let's scrap that. I'm going to put this in the floor here. We have a little distillery here that is making lubricant. I'm just going to stuff this in the floor and allow you to auto-output. There we go. We now have a lubricant fluid transfer node. I've got it in my GPS is confused. Oh, this is that one right there. Okay. I'm going to need a few more GPSs. Do I want to send oxygen over here in the same way? Maybe. What are these three set up to? Okay, so these three are set. Let's put these in the lubricant one. Wait, which one is not set? This bottom one is not set. Okay. Alright, those are now sending lubricant over. And these should actually go ahead and start running. Yep, there they go. They are making power. But I actually want to turn them off because they are not ready to run yet. We should have some power in here now, though. Yep, a little bit of power built up. We need oxygen in here because oxygen's going to be our kind of it's going to be our fuel efficiency increasing system kind of thing. So for oxygen, looking over here, there's channels available on that line over there. I could just pull oxygen, but then it would be piping it all in. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pipe in oxygen, to be honest. Or not pipe it in, warp it in with GPSs again. Just because I think it's going to look cool if it's just like teleporting the stuff in there automatically. I'm just going to need to remember if I ever change this configuration later that it's like, oh yeah, by the way, don't forget about your fluid transfer node spaghetti. That's one downside of using wireless things everywhere is that you don't actually have a good infrastructure of those items, and they're just kind of like floating around willy-nilly. Okay, let's put this... I can just put it here somewhere. Like, it doesn't really matter where. Do any of these supply oxygen? Water, oxygen. Can I just, like, stick it up here? Is that going to bring you oxygen? But I would need to put 10 buckets instead. Okay, so it's brought oxygen to both machines. If I take the oxygen out of here, is it going to refill the oxygen? I just need to make sure that it supplies both of them with oxygen without an issue here. Let me get a plunger really quick. So I took some oxygen out of here. So I've taken 5 buckets out. Are you going to refill the oxygen? It looked like it put it in here, but it actually ended up in the top. What about if I take that oxygen out? Are you going to send more oxygen for the bottom machine? Okay, you know what? That seems to be working. I'm not going to complain. All right, oxygen be gone. So these all should be getting oxygen now. It's going to take a little bit to fill up these hatches, but they don't need to be full. We can go ahead and turn them on now. So it is using 20 L of oxygen per second. So that's what that looks like. Tick, 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 tick. Pretty slow. The lubricant is like, you can't even tell. Yeah, see there was 1 tick of 1 liter. 1 tick of 1 liter. 1 tick of 1 liter. Yeah, it's like nothing. All right, we can go ahead and turn these on now. And they are very, very, very efficiently creating power now. We can look over here and we can see how much. I have a scanner. Here we go. We can see our average input is 57. Okay, hold on. Hold on. You disconnect for a second. Can I let me set the limit to 0 here for a second. So disable. Now scan. Okay, there we go. There's how much power we're making. 24.5 thousand EU per tick. And that's what I expected, right? Because these are making 6144. So 6144 times 4 is 24.5k. Yeah, all right, there we go. Power. All right, go ahead and turn this back on because of janky things. I don't know what surge mode is, but gonna go ahead and not mess with that. These are charging. Okay, so now, fun thing about these is I do not believe these turn off when the buffers are full. So if I unplug this cable, energy buffer fills up, it just keeps running, I'm pretty sure. Yep, so the energy buffer's full, but there's nowhere for that power to go. Right? Wait, is it? Is it still running here? I actually can't tell if it's still running here. Okay, well, I don't want this battery buffer here to be full because remember how we have this weird little loop here? If this battery buffer is full, this loop is gonna fail. So it won't be able to pull power out to send it because it's just going to be trying to push into a full system. So let us create, let's create a little T flip-flop to turn the power on and off. So how much power are we holding in here? 400 million EU. Okay, so let's get an energy detector. Detector. We can make an advanced energy detector, I think. Yeah, this guy. We're just going to need to automate energy detector. One second. Do we know tin drops? Tin. We do know drop of tin alloy. Okay, we don't need that. Let's go energy detector first. And then let's do the advanced energy detector. And we want the liquid soldering alloy recipe. Whoops, I did the wrong recipe for this one. Liquid soldering alloy. All right, those go in the assembler. We got detectors here, energy detector, advanced, no, not advanced item, advanced energy detector. Here we go. That's what we want. Now we want some wireless stuff, but I want a different wireless than what we have like over here, some wireless redstone stuff, because I want to be able to send one signal to multiple places. So we're going to do a receiver. We're going to do these, the refined tools. So let's go ahead and I guess we're going to be automating this. Receiver makes receiver. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a receiver. We're going to comparator. We're going to automate comparators really quick. What kind of crystals do we have a lot of? Probably just quartzite, right? So go ahead, automate comparators. Machine bases. Those are in the assembly machine, right? Assembler. And then we need a transmitter. So we need, basically it's the same stuff. So, I mean, I'll go ahead and automate it. Why not? Okay, so let's get redstone receiver. I want 4 of them. And then I want a redstone transmitter. So that's just going to take a minute to craft all those up. I also want 4 machine control covers. Actually, now that I think about it, we only need 2 receivers, huh? Because we can just put the redstone signal in the middle of that block there. Do these need to have air blocks in front? Like if I block this, structure obstructed. Hmm. Now I'm like, okay, so if we can't put a redstone directly, can we like put a redstone dust next to this? Redstone dust? Does this obstruct the structure? That sure does obstruct the structure. That's annoying. Okay. That means we're going to need to put the redstone signal directly into the face of the machine, and the only way I know how to do that is with redstone conduits. So I guess let's make a bunch of these guys. All right, 12 of them should be enough. And we're going to be using a transmitter and one receiver because I can't use that many receivers. So here I'm going to be using the transmitter on this side. So this is going to pick up... Oops, I didn't mean to rotate it. This is going to pick up the redstone signal from this block right here, for which we have the energy detector cover. The energy detector cover is going to... what are these modes? Change between using discrete EU values or percentages. Oh, we can just do percentages. Yeah, let's do percentages. That'll be easier. So let's turn on the engines when we are below 90% power, and we'll turn them off when we're at 99% power. Okay? And then... So right now, they are sending a signal to turn on. Let's put our receiver over here. We need to put the machine controllers. And we need to have these directly on the front of these machines because, yeah. So these are set to turn off when they receive a signal. So we're going to need to invert one of these. I'm just going to invert this one because otherwise I need to invert all of those, and I don't want to invert all of these over here. So, all right, go ahead and hook these up. I'm going to need to manually connect them. That's a little annoying when the cables don't automatically connect. All right, let me get my conduit probe here. So I can set an output of red, no input on this side, and paste it on those 4 conduits. And then I need to back off 1 block from the machine because if I go there, it's going to block the structure, right? Yeah, structure obstructed, but this is not structure obstructed, so we are good to do that. All right, and then let's just put like a thing here. Can I put my redstone receiver like in the air? Hey, there we go. Looks kind of janky, but it works, I guess. All right, and you are, whoops. You are input on red. Okay, so now we are going to wait and see what happens for these to fill up. I think I can also accelerate the steam engine, right? Okay, this hopefully doesn't break my... Hopefully this doesn't explode. I'm scared. Back up. Start. I think this is just going to make this buffer fill up faster than it can output, but let me just do a backup just in case. I don't want a huge mess down here. So it is definitely running twice as fast, and what's happening back here? Yeah, okay, it's just generating power twice as fast, which means this dynamo cannot keep up. And honestly, that's fine. Let's let the dynamos kind of cap out here. So now they're doing 16 power. And this is latched, right? Mode percentage. Detector cover. RS latch controlled energy status. Yep, okay, so this should be latched. So when it gets above 90%, it should keep going. And then when it hits 99%, it should shut off. All right, let's, I'm going to come back once this is closer to full, and we will see how we're looking. All right, we are at 380 million. Our target for 99% is going to be 396 million. So here in 10 million more EU, we should be seeing this getting ready to shut off. All of our dynamos are currently empty. Their buffers are empty. All right, here we go. This should turn on right now, and then that should turn off our engines. All right, there it is. We have stopped receiving power, but this little power loop here is still going. So out of curiosity, just because I want to see if this actually works or not, let me pick this up and see if our... Wait, why is this still off? Working disabled? Oh, it like saved the signal when I picked the thing up. Okay, so let's see what happens when this gets full. So this is now full. Yeah, this is not sending power anymore. So this would be stuck, unable to send any power. So we do need this system for using the flux plug. Okay, good to know. We need to get a little bit of power out of here, though. How are we going to do that? Oh, I know. Where's my drill? My drill needs recharging, right? Oh, it doesn't. Where's my infinity drill? This one here. Let me take this out and drain a little bit of power. Okay. So that should have drained a bit of power from the flux network, which should have drained it from here. Yes. Okay. So we are now under, and this is now looping power back into itself again. Okay, cool. So how are we going to get this power to where we need it to be? So remember these combustion generators? Yeah, no more. No more of these. These are over. The days of those are done. Let's get flux plugs. Flux points. There we go. Our system here is now directly hooked up into an energy acceptor. In fact, I feel like I would like to have an energy acceptor somewhere else and have the batteries somewhere else. So let me... Acceptor, energy... Do we not have this automated or something? Apparently not. Let me make some energy acceptors really quick. Well, these alloys are still ever so slow to craft. I am making this because I don't want the network to die while I move stuff over. Okay, so this isn't going to use any channels, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss it right here. And get our flux plug right here, disable limit. There we go. So that is now going to be sending power into our AE system. So go over here. I'm going to break all these batteries and this energy acceptor. And we don't need that flux plug there. And we don't need this cable over here anymore. What are you doing here? I don't even remember why I made that. Oh, I made that before I blew up my steam turbine, right? Okay. So this, you are now powering the network, but this network has no buffer, so it's very unstable. So let's put the batteries back on it. There we go. Wow, those filled up very fast. Yeah, so one thing about this is that it does show the average power, but because we're doing that weird energy loop over there, it's going to be a little scuffed. But it's kind of the price we have to pay to be able to use this to transfer different powers in different places. Okay, so here's what we're going to be doing to actually get power in places. So you have two options here. So we have diodes, and we also have, what's it called? The other thing is, apparently we don't have diodes actually. Hold on one second. Gold wire, diode. What are we missing for this? Oh, we can make those. Okay. So we have diodes, we have battery buffers, and we have transformers. Those are the options we can use to receive power. I'm going to just be using diodes because with diodes, here's what we can do. Let me... Oh, geez. I would like to get all the fuel out of these. Can we get the fuel out of these, though? Does that remove fuel? I feel like that's not removing any fuel, though. Okay, so if I want to get these fuels out, I'm going to need to manually go in here with cells and do it. Kind of annoying, but I think it will be worth it, so... Where's my empty stain? Actually, where's my tungsten steel cell? Let's use this guy. So empty you out, empty you out. And this is what my next, like, 30 minutes of gameplay is going to look like. Pulling out fluids out of generators. Alright, there we go. Got all of the fuel out of there. 200 buckets saved, so definitely worth it, you know? I'm going to very carefully disconnect this without vein mining it because I don't want it to cascade and break a bajillion wires I don't want broken. Alright. These, I believe I can vein mine no problem, so... Alright, so there's my 16 combustion generators that used to be there. Now instead we are going to have a diode. And I can go ahead and stick this right in here. So this is the output of the diode. I'm going to flip it around. So the output is now facing upwards, and then you can soft hammer these to output various levels of amperage. So I'm going to tell it output 16 amps of HV power. Now we are going to put a flux point right there. And yeah, that's it. We are now delivering up to 16 amps of power into this diode. And that diode is now powering all of this stuff with up to 16 amps. Except this over here. This is still running on the HV circuit because I have that transformer there. So I will need an EV diode if I want to power these machines with EV. You can also plug a flux point directly into a wire like this, but when you do this, it is translating to whatever voltage the wire is, and terrestrial cables are LUV voltage. So that would be a very bad idea. We do not want LUV voltage flowing in here. Absolutely not. Alright, and how's our power situation looking? Currently we're draining power because we're on the down slope of the T flip-flop. But yeah, there we go. We are now completely, well, not completely. We are now having a central power bank. The power bank is being distributed wirelessly. Between next episode, I'm going to be going around and picking up all of the combustion generators all over the base and replacing them with a diode. And yeah, that's what it's going to be. Oh, where was this guy, by the way? My Spectre energy injector. We can go ahead and give him a new home here as well. There we go. So that's powering both our Spectre energy injector and our AE network. In fact, if we want to be very fancy here, we can set this priority to 1 so that it never we never run out of power in our AE network, because it's going to prioritize sending the power to there. So how is this looking over here? What's our average output looking like? Again, it's kind of scuffed because... Okay, so our average output is 32768. But actually, we need to be looking... Wait, what? Hold on a second. 32768. Where is it sending that power, actually? Hold on. Where... I'm a little confused about where the power is going. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me get this sorted out, and then... Oh, there's like a buffer charging here. Why is there a why is this buffer just endlessly charging? Oh, I see. Okay. I disable limit. I guess it keeps a buffer. I think you can only keep a buffer for RF things. If I disconnect this, it's going to stop charging the buffer, right? Yeah, okay. So it only charged the buffer because the Spectre energy injector is here. Okay. The limit here, this is an RF, so this is 200k. RF is a 4 times multiplier, so this is 200k EU per tick. That's sufficient. Okay. That buffer is draining now, and what's our power usage over here? Back to a normal amount. So basically, we are inputting 32.768k, and 3720 is coming out of here, so only 2k is going somewhere else. Yeah, okay. So here we can see what our net power loss is by subtracting those two numbers. It's about 1.9k. I wish I could show that, like the net power rather than the total power out, but unfortunately we cannot. What does this button do? I'm not sure what surge mode does either. Let's see. Surge mode. When enabled, this device will have the highest priority for giving energy regardless of set priorities. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, surge mode. That's basically what we want over there. So our AE system will always have power. Looks like our energy buffers just refilled also. It's gonna be so nice having just centralized power, all of this filling up with fuel, well, not filling up with fuel, burning fuel more efficiently than the individual block generators. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Between episodes, I'm going to definitely clean up the all of our individual block generators, replace them with diodes. All of our wires I've already put, well, except here apparently, I've put diodes everywhere. Not diodes, Terra Steel everywhere except for here, for being up to standard. Like here, I'm just gonna go in spectator mode really quick. We can see I have Terra Steel under here, under the chemistry setup. We have Terra Steel under the mining ore setup. This is not Terra Steel. This is still using a mix of LV, so also a turbo combustion generator. I'm probably not going to mess with this because that's getting fuel from... Actually, how is that getting fuel? Oh, there's a conduit right here. There's a conduit facade. I guess you can't see them in... You can see that there's a weird empty block here, but yeah, you can't actually see the conduit in there. For that, I would need to get my wrench out. Get the conduit probe out? There we go. So there, now we can see the facades. So this is all Terra Steel over here. No, that's not Terra Steel, sorry. That's the one that's not Terra Steel. These are Terra Steel. So yeah, we have everything ready to be converted over. I just need to go replace the generators with a flux point and a diode, and then it's all set. So anyways, thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the series, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Next time, we are going to be doing... I don't even know what we're going to be doing next time. I'm going to have to figure it out. But we've made some crazy strides for our power. You can probably look into upgrading our EBFs to IV power and then looking towards what we need to do to get into the next year. So yeah, probably going to be doing that. See ya next time.